Good evening. Welcome to the first knee-jerk stream of the season where we react to all of the games and talking points and FPL stuff from the game week that's just finished. Or sometimes we do it just before the game week's finished. Like next week there's Monday Night Football. We will still do this stream on a Sunday though, even if there's still one game left. And obviously we'll talk about what we're looking at doing for the next week, which players we should be getting in, which players we should be getting out. Should we be doing Kane out, Haaland in? That is going to be a very, 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 very popular transfer this week. I mean, a lot of people were looking at doing it anyway. They're definitely going to be looking at it now. Looking at the poll I just put out, most people seem to be on between 60 and 70 points. There's quite a few on 70 plus. Not too many of you on 80 plus. That is huge though, and about 21% or 59 or below. Let me know how there's loads of scores in the chat. Quite a few kind of 70, 80 pluses. Fired 70 plus, 74. Sorry, Dumpsters 72. Very nice. Everyone just lies about their points. I don't think as many people lie as you think lie. I mean, you don't really. What do you get, right? No one's like gonna remember your name in chat just because there's so many people. So I don't think as many people lie as you think. There will be some. I have Trippier and Cash, and I want to replace one of them for Walker. Who should I replace? Probably Cash, I think. But then it's Everton at... No, wait. Yeah, it's Everton at home, isn't it? I mean, personally, I wouldn't sell either for Walker this week. I would just play them both. If I had to sell one, given how good Newcastle's... apart from Man City, Liverpool in 3 and 5, which we talked about a lot, given the rest of the fixtures outside of that, I'd probably keep Trippier and sell Cash, I think. But I wouldn't do it this week. Shout out to official FPL, though the game has been updated in no time. Oh, has it? Damn, I need to change my score around. The chat is going mad already. Obviously, make sure to give the stream a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. Can I send you my team on Instagram? You can, but I won't look at it. It is the honest answer. I get so many people sending me their teams asking for advice. It's just too many. So I don't usually reply to any of them, to be honest with you. It's just too many to get through. I'd have to hire a personal assistant to reply to them all. I feel like I go through enough talking points during the week in videos that should cover it. So that's kind of what I stick to. Okay, let me just bring up my... first of all, let me change my music that I'm listening to. And then I will bring up my team. So we should be looking here. So I'm on 74 points. If the game's updated, which it has, there we go. So I'm on, wow, I've got over 8 million players already, 8.355 million FPL managers already. This it's just going to be harder and harder the more the seasons go on. So I'm on 74 points. I feel like if I got 74 last year, I'd be around 300 or 400k. Right now I'm 737k. But to be honest, if I can give you one piece of advice, please, unless you're like number one, in which case fair enough, please don't worry too much about your score in game week 1. All right, please. The ranks will be so close together. Like 1 point could be thousands and thousands of places different. Those that are winning have probably popped chips already and stuff like that. Don't worry. Don't worry about it too much. Put it this way, I'm very happy to be inside the top million in game week 1. If I can do that every single week, if I can get a game week rank of 700k every single week, I'll finish very, very high. Does wildcard make sense in game week 2 with 61 from game week 1? The question is not how many points you got. The question is, how does your team look for the next few weeks? I would suggest that anyone that was fully engaged before the season kicked off probably does not need a wild card. Like, for example, I got 74 points. If I'd had Kane instead of Haaland, it would have been, what, like 62, 63, something like that? I would not be wild card in this team, right? I could have exactly the same team, but have Kane instead of Haaland, and my score would have obviously been less. I wouldn't wild card. I wouldn't wildcard. So most people probably do not need it. They need a transfer at most. Most people don't even need a transfer this week. Villa looking ropey. Should I switch Luka Dean and Bailey? Here's the thing, right? I know there's only so many weeks we can say this for, but we shouldn't pay too much attention to pre-season. We also shouldn't pay too much attention to one game. To one game in the Premier League, right? Not every player is at full fitness yet, right? There was obviously 5 subs used quite a bit. You know, Haaland came off after 74. Players have had a shorter pre-season and a shorter break than normal. So players are not going to be fully fit. I would not start knee-jerking all your players out. I'd at least give Villa the Everton game. At least give Villa the Everton game. I don't think you need to rush to get rid of Bailey. Also, who are you going to sell him to? Like Dewsbury Hall, maybe. I wouldn't use a transfer in Game Week 2 on that, though, personally. Haaland or Salah captain next week. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm not sure right now. I think it's quite close. I think because Haaland played after Salah, and obviously we saw how good he was against West Ham, I think more people are going to think that he's the obvious captain, and we're going to forget about Salah, who has got Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace is the more difficult game for sure, but obviously Salah's a midfielder. It's at Anfield. We know what he can do. So I think it's pretty close. What I will say is, for next week is I'm on Haaland, and I was on Haaland before the game even kicked off against West Ham. I just think this early in the season, I don't want to overthink it too much. He's playing Bournemouth. I'm pretty sure he's going to start. That could be a 4 or 5 goal fest. He's going to be right at the heart of everything City do. Like today, they were trying to find him so much. Grealish, Cancelo, Foden, all whipping balls in. He nearly connected with one of Foden's crosses. I'm probably going to go for Haaland. But for example, if I had Kane or Son and Salah, and I didn't want to get rid of my Spurs players because of their fixtures from Game Week 3, I would definitely consider just captaining Salah and ignoring Haaland, which I know sounds crazy after watch this happened, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad play. I think what's going to happen now is people who weren't thinking of going for Haaland are going to massively knee-jerk, which may or may not be a good move, and then Salah's going to end up outscoring him because that's what Salah does. Because not everybody, but there's still a minority of people that seem to write Salah off all the time. It's madness. It's absolute madness. And he continues to deliver points. Was he brilliant against Fulham? No. Were Liverpool brilliant against Fulham? No. He still comes away with double digits. It's just what he does. It's what he does. Haaland about to go up in price already. So there's a website you can use to check this. Called fplstatistics.co.uk. That's what I use anyway. He might rise in price tonight, and Zinchenko might. So basically, Haaland. In fact, I might update this. So Haaland, I'm going to put it on the ticker. Haaland, Zinchenko, and Mitrovic may rise in price tonight. There we go. I'll add that in, and then drops. Doesn't look like any players are going to drop in price, which is good. I will never write Salah off, but I just wonder if I got it wrong going for Kane over Haaland for the whole season. Well, you don't have to go for it for the whole season. We've still got 37 weeks to go. Honestly, the idea of picking players for the season, forget about it. It doesn't happen. All it takes is one injury, and suddenly your whole perspective on a player changes. Oh yeah, I should say, okay, my Cucurella move, I will agree, Cucurella was a really bad pick from me. It was really bad. There's no way I should have done that. I should have probably gone for Doherty instead, because at least I know he's probably first choice. I now have to get lucky that Cucurella starts. Like, if he starts against Spurs, like, I don't think it was a completely awful pick, because there is a chance he's just going to be left centre-back, right? And if they don't sign for Fofana, it could easily be Chilwell, Cucurella, Silva, Koulibaly, and then Reece James. Obviously, Azpilicueta will get games as well. But Cucurella was a bad pick. I was trying to be clever. I was trying to go for something more exciting than Walker. But realistically, when I look at my team, like, if I don't go for Haaland to Kane in Game Week 3, my Game Week 3 transfer will probably be Cucurella to a different £5 million defender. And if Walker goes up in price by then, that's gonna look pretty stupid. I don't know if Walker will, because he's never going to get, like, attack and return, so he's never going to get a huge score. But he might get a bit. Cucurella might start against Spurs, though, and if he does, then I'd probably keep him for Game Week 3. Right now, people are, like, massively knee-jerking, like, this is the transfer to make for Game Week 1. I'm thinking about wildcarding. if Cucurella is an option for Game Week 3, I don't even know if I've got a transfer for the next 2 weeks. I think my team looks that good. Like, I'm happy enough with the team anyway. Yeah, very surprised I picked Cucurella. Yeah, I didn't really think about it until... I didn't really think about him until the deadline stream, to be honest. I just think he was registered quick to make the squad, and I thought, okay, maybe he'll get used. And he could still play instead of Chilwell in some games. But the fact that Chilwell started and made it to like 60, 70 minutes probably means he's fit enough to keep starting for now. He's not going to start left wing back. I don't think Cucurella looked very good when he came on, though. So I don't think it's a completely stupid, awful pick, but it wasn't that smart. I definitely should have just gone for a safer 5 million pick, because now I'm potentially putting myself in a position where I have to transfer him. But we'll see. Anyway, a 5 million defender on the bench is probably the least of people's worries, right? Played my wildcard already. Wow. I'm just gonna say now, for anyone that gives me a wildcard team, I've not given it any thought, right? So I was just kind of live reaction. Sanchez, Trent, Walker, James, Zinchenko, Cancelo, Salah, Martinelli, Darwin, Haaland, Jesus. I don't know what your team was before. My general thoughts are anyone that's thinking about wildcarding is because they want Darwin Nunez, and that's pretty much it. I can't believe that anyone's got such a bad side they need to wildcard. And likewise, there you go. You got a 5-2-3, and Darwin Nunez is in. We'll talk about him in a minute. 74 points for me too, which is not bad. It's not bad at all. It's great. Since AAT. Who's AAT? Blanked. Robbo and Jesus blanked. Who's AAT? Why can't I think? Oh, Alexander Arnold. It's TAA. Okay. 73 points, 7 out of your 11 going to target United. Man United, oh my God. If there's anything we learned in Game Week 1, it's that Man United are still absolutely awful. Like, if you needed an indication of what Man United were going to be like, for anyone that's watched my channel a lot in the past, I always try and get Man United players in my team. I went for 0 this season from the start, and their prices were super cheap. That should have told you everything you needed to know about Man United, but they were even worse than I expected. They were so bad. Like, fair play to Brighton, they were good. Great even in some ways, but Man United, oh my God. Perisic out, yeah, and Salah's got Man United in Game Week 3. Perisic out for James, Chilwell, Arsenal defender, or Walker. See, here's the thing with Perisic, right? This is another one of those picks. What's changed? This is what you need to be asking yourself when you're thinking about a transfer in Game Week 2. What has changed to make you now make a transfer you weren't already planning? Like, if you went for Perisic, you knew there was a risk he wouldn't start Game Week 1. In fact, I would say, given the news and stuff that came out, it looked way more likely that he wouldn't start than he would. You took the risk, that's fair enough. He could have got something off the bench. He might start against Chelsea. If he doesn't, hopefully he's up to fitness against Wolves in Game Week 3. But he didn't play Game Week 1. That hasn't changed. We already knew that was a possibility. The only thing I would say is Sessegnon was good. And he got his goal, and he almost scored a second one. So that maybe does put Perisic minutes at a little bit of a more risk than they were going into Game Week 1. But yeah, if I was going to go for James, Chilwell, Arsenal defender, or Walker, I'd probably go for James. But the thing is, do you really want to bring in Reece James against Spurs? I think Reece James is the best long-term pick from them, though. Am I tempted to get Kulusevski? Not this week, no. He's playing Chelsea. It's not worth doing. The thing is, right, Luis Diaz got 2 points, right? So it doesn't look great. Maddison got points. Kulusevski got points. Who else? Another 8 million pounds. Saka got points as well. Luis Diaz hit the post. On another day, he comes away... On another day, Luis Diaz comes away with double figures, and people aren't wildcarding to get Darwin Nunez, in my opinion. By the way, I'm not saying that Darwin Nunez is not a good pick or anything like that. Like, he looks really good. I'm sure, in fact, I'm almost certain he's going to be first choice number 9 very, very soon, if not from Game Week 2. But there's nothing to say that in the next game, Luis Diaz cannot outscore him or match him for 1 million less. Like, he could have got more points in Game Week 1. So... yeah, I got zero intention of moving to Kulusevski. The only player I've considered moving Luis Diaz out for is Foden or Mahrez. That's what I was thinking about before today's game. The fact that Mahrez didn't start means he's a no-go. But Foden, once again, like last year, Foden was mostly nailed last year. Now, he's not as nailed as a De Bruyne, but no one really is in attack. But he did start more often than not when he was fit. And once again, he's not really had a pre-season, and yet he's straight in, and he's in on the right. So Grealish played, Foden played on the right. That's good for his minutes. He can play anywhere. Number 9, right, left. I think Foden's a pretty nice shout. But if I do Diaz to Foden for Bournemouth, like Diaz also has Bournemouth suit. And to be honest, Liverpool are going to rip Man United apart the way Man United played in game week 1. So I don't know if I need to rush to get rid of Diaz, to be honest. Already took a -4. -4s already on Sunday evening. Kane to Haaland, Perisic to Walker. Okay. Still, really? Okay. Still have Kulusevski and Zinchenko. Nice. Those 4 points should be made back easily. Yeah, hopefully. Love the new graphic. I've got Toney. Great shout. Worth switching to Mitrovic for a couple of weeks to catch a price rise. Nah, not in my opinion. Here's the thing about Mitrovic, right? So we talked about him pre-season, right? And I kind of said, pretty bad fixture. I'm not going to hindsight merchant, by the way. I did not think he was going to get many points against Liverpool at all. But really difficult fixtures. But he is still a solid pick because you know what you're getting. This is annoying now. The new design doesn't show you. You don't need to see the fixture difficulty anyway. He's still a solid pick because he's always going to play. He's going to play 90 minutes all the time, and he's on penalties as well. So the next few fixtures are not that bad. Wolves and Brentford are okay, but he has to play Arsenal, Chelsea, and Spurs in the next 6 game weeks. So you might get some price rises, but what if he starts blanking in those fixtures? You might then get a price fall, so you don't really make any money unless you sell him. So I think if you've got Toney, he's just scored against Leicester. He's got Man United next, could score in that game, and then he's got really good fixtures. So what I will say is most of my answers to this are you probably don't need to make that transfer. That is going to be the general gist of this stream. You probably don't need to make transfers. I wouldn't be doing Toney to Mitrovic unless you needed the money for something, which you probably don't. And like you even say at the end of the super chat, I might want Toney back around game week 3. Well, that's literally in 2 weeks. So just keep him. Haaland over Kane was the right call. Thank you. I was so set on Kane. Look, I think this is one of those, right, where you could just sit here and brag, oh yeah, it was obvious that Haaland was the pick. It wasn't, right? Literally, Spurs, the amount of goals I kept saying I think they'll score is like 4 goals. They scored 4 goals, and for Kane and Son to get 1 assist between them is crazy. For anyone that didn't have Kane or Son, we got away with it a little bit, right? And we obviously got a bit of luck because Haaland gets the penalty, he also scores as well. So I feel like my reasoning to go for Haaland over Kane in the end was solid. The fact that I knew if I went Kane in game week 1, I would 100% want Haaland for game week 2. So I felt it was better to start with Haaland and then maybe switch him in game week 3 to Kane if I wanted to. I don't even know if I'm going to do that right now. But I think the idea of it being the right call for game week 1, it was close. But as I said, for game week 2, having to play Chelsea is just not ideal. I did see a post from a guy called Mikael, and on his Patreon, he said it's a transfer algorithm Patreon, and he made a really interesting comment that I never really considered before. And it doesn't really matter now; it's only really relevant for game week 1 next year. But if a player has a good fixture in game week 1 followed by a bad fixture in game week 2. Then if they don't perform in game week 1, they've got a very good chance of dropping in price, which is exactly what's going to happen with Kane. He had a really good fixture, but because he hasn't performed, people want to get rid of him because he has Chelsea next. Whereas if a player has a difficult fixture in game week 1 and a good fixture in game week 2 and can get something, i.e. Mitrovic, then they've got a good chance of going up. Obviously, it relies on them getting a return. If Kane braced against Southampton, he wouldn't be getting sold so much against Chelsea, but it was just something I found quite interesting. So we'll worry about that in about 360 days' time when it's the next game week 1. Sorry, thank you very much. I still haven't answered the question, would I do Kane to Haaland? We will come on to that. Keep up the great content. I've been watching you for 4 years. Very nice. Thank you for sticking around for so long. I have Bailey and Neto instead of Diaz. Should I keep it this way for another week? Yeah, again, I probably would just keep it, right? Neto's got Fulham, Bailey's got Everton. Give yourself 2 free transfers next week in game week 3 and figure it out then if you need to. Who to bring in for cash, not Trippier if possible. I would just keep cash for Everton at home personally. I wouldn't rush to sell him. Like, it was a bad result and Aston Villa weren't that good, but I would keep him. I guess I'd go to Walker if not. Got Kane, but all I can think of is how I trusted Rashford. Yeah, Rashford... Again, Man United are rubbish, but Rashford should have scored. Rashford should have scored. Again, on another on another day, Rashford comes away with a goal and that. He probably got most of the best chances Man United had, which were kind of few and far between. But again, if I had Rashford, I don't know if I would suddenly panic about him. I'd probably still keep him for another week. I don't know, there is part of me that thinks Man United was so trash that Rashford's the one to go, but he did have a great chance. He puts that away. I know you could say, well, he's not necessarily the greatest finisher, and maybe it's confidence and stuff like that. But again, if he puts that chance away that Sanchez goes big and saves, then we're not even talking about Rashford, right? You're not even talking about getting rid of him. So I think you've got to keep him. What's your long-term plan with Nunez if he's nailed? Would you sort Jesus or your other striker? I think I'd probably figure out... See, the thing is, I still think Jesus is great, at least for the next 3 fixtures. Leicester at home, just conceded twice to Brentford. Then he's got Bournemouth and Fulham. I can never remember which way around it is, by the way. Is it Fulham then Bournemouth or Bournemouth then Fulham? Bournemouth then Fulham. I just got no interest in getting rid of Jesus, to be honest with you. Like, another day he comes away with 2 assists, right? So it's all these swings that can happen in FPL. But I think it would, like, there's one way I can get Darwin Nunez in this team, and that's to drop Luis Diaz to a 4.5, Cucurella to Nico Williams, and then upgrade Greenwood to Darwin Nunez. So I need 2 transfers, so I could just take a -4. But am I going to do that against Man United? Probably not. So I still don't know about Darwin Nunez. I do get the hype, and I'm definitely not sitting here saying he's a bad pick, right? For anyone that's wildcarding, fair enough if you go with him. But the £8 million midfielders could still have a say about who's the better option, especially if minutes are going to be an issue. Like, I get the whole talk about, even if he doesn't start, he can do it off the bench. But that's not what you want from a player. For what it's worth, I think he'll probably get starts now. I think he's going to keep Firmino out of the team. And he'd probably even keep Jota out of the team as well. For the most part. He will get subbed off, of course. Klopp's got good attackers. He's going to use them in like a rotation with the 5 subs. But... yeah, I still don't know about me getting Darwin Nunez. It feels like a big structure change for someone that hasn't started a game for Liverpool yet. So I'm not worried about it right now. I know a lot of people want to get ahead of the crowd. That's fair enough, but like I just think this team did really well in Game Week 1, and it's really well set up for the next 3 weeks. So I don't need to really panic right now. There'll be plenty of game weeks where I can go a little bit different. What about Robertson? Transfer him out away at Game Week. Like, okay, again, my question would be, why are you transferring out Robertson? What has changed after 1 game week that you think you've got to sell Robertson before Palace at home? That I know you can answer, but I'll probably miss it in the chat because there's so many people. But like, why would you sell Robertson? It just makes no sense to me. Like, 0 sense. Would you get rid of Mahrez if you had him? Mahrez, I probably would use a transfer on. I do believe he'll play a lot because he just signed an extension. The problem is, though, the thing is, with players like Mahrez, you get stuck. You get stuck with them, right? Because you're thinking, okay, he didn't play. What if he plays against Bournemouth? What if he plays against Bournemouth? What could he do in that game? But what if he doesn't play against Bournemouth? Well, you're stuck again. Well, hang on then. It's Game Week 3. What if he starts against Newcastle? And this is what happens. So if you've got a good bench, you can maybe keep him for Bournemouth. But Mahrez is the kind of player I might think about moving on in Game Week 2 to one of the other £8 million mids. Who I don't know who I would buy this week. Probably Saka, because of Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham. Because Kulusevski plays Chelsea. Kulusevski great though, but probably him or Diaz still. I don't think I've changed my mind too much on that. Yeah, Mahrez is a really tough one because you want to keep him for Bournemouth, but he doesn't start, you'll be in the same loop for Newcastle, the same loop for whatever games in Game Week 4, I think it's Palace. So I'd be tempted to sell him. And just look, you took a punt, it didn't work out, that sucks, but that's FPL, right? Got 6, yeah, Foden as well, sorry, is a good shout too. Foden's a good shout, I think. I think Saka for the next 3, though, is the one. Obviously, if you've got 3 Arsenal, you can't get him. Got 61 this game week. Late switch to Kane did me. Ouch. But 61's still good. Andy does the Match of the Day challenge and live streams his watch along on a Saturday evening. Yeah, maybe, but then I've got to also be around on a Saturday evening. And also, if you do that on your own, I'm literally just sat here watching Match of the Day and commenting or narrating to you guys, but I can't interact with you. So I don't think it works very well for that reason. I think it's interesting to watch if a couple of people do it together. So maybe one day, but I got no real plans to do that because ultimately, like, I'm streaming on, this is my, like, I'm not complaining, I'm just telling you what it is, right? Sunday evening, I'm streaming. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, multiple, probably, I don't know, at least one video a day, maybe sometimes two. And then Saturday morning, I'm also streaming again. And then after Saturday morning, it's like straight to Sunday evening streaming. So that's why I don't usually do too many watch-alongs, too many match day challenges and stuff like that. Mount to Foden or hold on Mount? Yeah, I mean, I'd probably hold on him. I don't... Yeah, look, again, nothing really worried me about Mount yesterday too much. I don't think Chelsea were great in attack, to be honest, actually, so maybe I'll be a little worried. And they've got Spurs next, which isn't easy. But the fixtures after that are good. So again, my question back to you would be, what was the plan? Has anything changed? Is it just because Foden's got Bournemouth? Were you already thinking about doing that? If you're going to look to early wildcard, you could make more aggressive moves, right? So you could go to Foden. But what if Mount does really well against Spurs and you want him back for game week 3? And this is the problem with making too many moves for good players this week. You can see the team for next week, yeah. It's basically exactly the same team. Oh no, I've got Sanchez in instead of Ward. So Ward is the number 1 Leicester keeper. Obviously, we found that out this week as well. They did concede twice, though. I've also realised in the first 3 weeks, I'm probably going to play Ward twice. I don't know. Sanchez has got West Ham away in game week 3. I don't think I'd play him then. I'll play him for game week 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll probably play him like most games after that up until game week 8. But I don't know about game week 3. But yeah, my team's basically exactly the same. I've got Haaland captain instead of Salah. I think I will probably stick with that. I still think Salah's a great shout. But ultimately my team is exactly the same. Exactly the same. This is one of the... By the way, it's not just game week 3 onwards. Game week 2 is already a week where I probably should have had Walker instead of Cucurella. Because I'd probably bench Gabriel against Leicester. Because although I think Arsenal will win that game, Leicester are definitely scoring, I think. So, yeah, if I'd had Walker, I would have just played Walker and benched Gabriel. So that probably was a mistake from my game week 1 side. Probably was a mistake. I wouldn't have played Walker in game week 1, but I would have played him in game week 2. I don't want to keep going on about Walker, though. I've spoken about him a lot. Is De Silva a shout? He's probably the second best 4.5 behind Andreas Pereira, but that's about it. He didn't start. He came on. He got his goal. Like I said to you in pre-season, FPL Dummy Tom, who's a Brentford fan on Twitter, you should follow. He did say he thinks De Silva's someone that could make it into the first 11 eventually, but... he's not there right now. So I wouldn't put him ahead of Andreas Pereira in the pecking order right now. Plus Kane is making me sick playing as a playmaker, not a proper striker. The interesting thing is... I can't remember who posted the stats now. I can probably look them up on Fantasy Football Scout. But, and look, it's just one game. It's just one game. But I think Son had loads of chances compared to Kane. I didn't watch the full game. I have to say that. I only caught the highlights, so I don't want to decide too much off of just looking at the stats for one game. I just want to have a quick look because I feel like Son was really heavily involved. My opinions on Haaland is he looks scary. He looks scary. It's basically the same as the Community Shield. Remember, I said after the Community Shield. Man City have now got a new way of playing. It's almost like someone said it on commentary today. It's almost like they don't need to make that extra pass that they used to, because that pass should be going straight to Haaland. And that goal, the second goal he scored, where De Bruyne passed it through, that is the exact pass I think they were missing in the Community Shield in the first half. That was on so many times. His runs are amazing. He never looks like he's going to be offside, the way he times them. But he can time them so well because his acceleration is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Even the penalty, the way he got to the ball first before Areola, he's going to be scary. Again, I wouldn't necessarily completely panic if you're a Kane over. Haaland did come off early. We know that Kane's going to be on the pitch a lot. Never going to be an issue with starts and stuff like that. The only time Kane's not starting is injuries. Whereas if Haaland does get a little niggle, he might be kind of left out of the team. But I still have. I feel like I'm putting off the question. Would I do Kane to Son? It's kind of It's a scary question to answer, especially when you don't have to do it. I'm just looking now. So expected goal involvement, Haaland 1.6, but he did have obviously did have a penalty in that. But Son had 4 shots in the box and created 4 chances. 0.68 expected goal involvement. It's not really that great. Well, no, sorry, that is pretty good for one game actually. And then Kane was 1 shot in the box, 2 chances created, 0.25. So I don't know. I don't want to put too much worry about that, but it's something I'll keep an eye on when it comes to Son versus Kane. I don't know if I was full on Kane. I don't know if I necessarily am, but I'll see. Would you sell Bruno Fernandes? Probably, yeah. It's a tricky one though. Like, it's Brentford next, isn't it? And like, you almost want to use that money somewhere else, but you could take a hit and go to Darwin Nunez maybe. Yeah, he has been injury prone before, but just keep in mind, if Haaland gets injured, we just transfer him out, right? It's not an issue. The thing I'd be more worried about is that he starts picking up little knocks that Pep doesn't talk about, and then suddenly he's not in the starting 11. He's on the bench for a game, and then in the pre-match interview, Pep's like, "Yeah, it's a little bit of a knock. We're just being careful." That's what I'm more worried about. Would I sell Bruno Fernandes? Again, I feel like I'd probably give him another game. I'd want the 2 free transfers to sort out that money, but you could go aggressive and spread it around. Just take a hit. Wouldn't be I wouldn't be that worried. Grealish a good pick. He might start frequently. Might is the big thing there. Yeah, he could be. I guess the thing with Man City players, if you're going to take a punt on them, you probably want to do it this week when they're playing Bournemouth at home. But you then also can't be surprised if Foden lines up on the left and Mahrez is on the right, you know? But I suspect we won't see too... How can I say this about a Pep Guardiola team? But I don't suspect we'll see too many changes for that Bournemouth game. But I could be massively wrong. Nunez outperforming Salah from the bench in the past 2 games. I mean, he literally didn't outperform him in points, right? I mean, that is worth considering. Let me see their expected stats. Salah and Nunez. You can check on Fantasy Football Scout. Expected goal involvement for Nunez 0.66. I mean, that is pretty impressive in 40 minutes. To be fair, Salah was 0.58. So not bad either. Not bad either. The thing with Nunez is I think it's very easy to start drawing conclusions that, okay, Nunez is going to get more minutes. Fair enough. We can probably all agree that's going to happen. But then to make a conclusion or to draw a conclusion that Nunez plays, therefore Salah's not such a good option, that's dangerous for me. Like, we're talking about the best FPL asset from the last 5 years suddenly not being as good because Nunez is there. Like, after 2 games, that's too much for me. I feel like if you want Nunez, you get both, right? And we shouldn't fault Salah's fitness, right? He's always available, and because of that, he always gets good minutes. And you just don't know if Nunez is always going to get those minutes. I'm not talking about just starts. But I just don't see Salah getting subbed off as much. He's going to be on the pitch more often. And he's on penalties as well. So, I don't know. We need to stop looking for reasons to get rid of Salah. I get it. If you want to be different, fair enough. But if you've got Salah, you ain't getting rid of him because of Nunez. I think that's such a dangerous conclusion to draw. That Nunez is there now. So, therefore, Salah is definitely a bad option. Who knows? Maybe Salah did a little bit better when... what's his name came on? Who's the Harvey? Can't remember his surname. It is Harvey, right? Harvey, not Harvey Barnes. What's his name? Who's the guy that came on, played right central midfield? Elliot. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe Salah did a little bit better then. The thing is, like... Salah didn't play great and he still comes away with 2 returns. Another day he's going to play great and get the same returns. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say about Salah. Like, he's great. I almost feel like I almost shouldn't have to sit here and explain to you how good he is because he's just that good. If you don't want to go for him, go for him. Don't go for him. Sorry, if you don't want to. Okay, you keep avoiding the question. There's loads of super chats, loads of questions in the chat as well. Barcelona want Trent Alexander-Arnold. Well, they can want him all they want. I want Man United to sign Haaland. It ain't going to happen. If you were planning Kane to Haaland before this week, do it. If you weren't, nothing has changed. We all knew Haaland could score goals. Yes, so that super chat is correct, right? If you were planning to do Kane to Haaland before this week, do it. Yeah, fair enough. Excuse me. If you were planning on doing it anyway, do it, right? You plan that move, you want Haaland for Bournemouth, happy days, do it. If you weren't, nothing has changed. We all knew Haaland could score goals. I kind of agree with that, right? I mean, what have we learned? Haaland is one of the best young talents in world football, one of the best young strikers in world football. He scored a load of goals elsewhere. He's come into a team that scores a load of goals. He's got quality players around him. He's going to score goals. None of that really, in my view at least, was new information. I know some people were probably worried about him hitting the ground running early, probably took the wrong, draw the wrong conclusion from the Community Shield and stuff like that. But we haven't really got any new information about him. That being said, best striker period, not young. Yeah, fair enough. That being said, if I had Kane, I'd be so tempted to switch to Haaland. I think the only saving grace is that Salah is a great captain option for Game Week 2, so you're not forced into it. Here's how I'll reframe it. If you want Kane, if you think Kane is a better option from Game Week 3 onwards than Haaland, which I think is close, I probably need to give it a bit more thought. Like I think even when I don't have the players, I should be careful about what I say in a reaction stream, because sometimes my thoughts change as the week goes on. But if you think Kane is better from Game Week 3, I don't think you make the move. I think you keep Kane and you captain Salah, and then you've got Kane ready from Game Week 3. Okay, you might have to eat a price drop, which isn't great. Haaland will go up in price, but so be it. If you think Kane is the better option, then why would you not keep him? Points are all you need at the end of the day. So I think that if you're not sure that Kane is the best option from Game Week 3, and you want to captain Haaland against Bournemouth, then I don't think there's anything wrong with making that move. It's not ideal to make moves in Game Week 2. Like, it really isn't. Like, you preferably want to have set your team up for at least like 2 or 3 game weeks. But I would be tempted to do it if you want. The thing is, what I will say, I've got Haaland. All right, I might sell him in Game Week 3, and that's the problem. That was the problem with starting with Kane, then shifting, then maybe having to shift back, because something will crop up over the next couple of weeks where you'll have to make another transfer. That's why ideally most people will say, don't make. I can't get my chair forward. Don't make a transfer in Game Week 2. If you've got no other fires, would you do Kane to Haaland? No one's really going to have any fires. That's the problem. Like my instinct is drawn to I wouldn't do it, but I feel like you could maybe do it. How is your rank 700k plus? I got 75 points and my rank is 146k. It probably isn't. Yeah, it'll probably change when FPL updates. I've checked live FPL to find out what my score is. So unless it's changed. Let's see. Yeah, my rank is 737619. Yeah. So you won't be 146k when FPL updates. But still, I wouldn't worry about it too much in Game Week 1. So yeah, I feel like Haaland can't be sold unless injured. So okay, here's a couple of things I will say as someone that owns Haaland. There is part of me that is considering Haaland to Kane in Game Week 3, but I don't know if Haaland versus Newcastle away is that bad a captain. So I don't know if Salah against Man United away is that bad a captain. So I might end up keeping Haaland, because in Game Week 5, although I think, in Game Week 5, Spurs have got West Ham away, Liverpool got Newcastle at home, so I might captain Salah, but potentially I might captain Haaland against Nottingham Forest. It is the midweek game though, so I'd probably go safe with Salah. I think that's one worry with Haaland. That midweek game on the Wednesday, will he play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday? Because we know Harry Kane will, but will Haaland? So that's what I'm a little bit worried about. So I need to want people to buy Haaland. I don't care. I don't care. Like, when have you ever known me to sit here and try and get people to not buy the player I think is best? I literally sit here. Like, Salah's owned by like 90% of engaged managers, and I will still sit here trying to convince the other 10% that Salah is great. So I'm not trying to put people off buying Haaland, but you need to start thinking a bit longer term. If you think Kane is better from game week 3, I don't think you buy Haaland in game week 2. I think you save the transfer, you hope for the best, hope for a reversal of what happened in game week 1, where Haaland blanks with the easier fixture and Kane does well with the tougher one. Although Kane's fixture against Chelsea is harder, I would argue, than Haaland versus West Ham. And then you captain Salah. But again, if you think you're going to want Haaland longer term, yeah, do the move. Do the move. Something like that, anyway. Got Walker. Do I bench James or Zinchenko for game week 2? I know James has got a hard fixture. I don't think you can. I could never bench Reece James, even against Spurs. He's just too good. He's too good. So I think I'd probably bench Zinchenko. The thing is, Zinchenko is probably more capable of an attacking return than Walker, but fixture-wise, I think Arsenal could concede. I'm a bit worried about Gabriel. Not massive, like I'm going to play him, but I'm not convinced he's going to be a clean sheet there. My ID is 1,304, 1304. You are sleeping on Newcastle. Haaland is a bad captain. Look, this is what I kept saying last year, right? Newcastle might be slightly better than they were last year. Okay, I agree on that, but people strongly. What's the word? What's the word I want to use? Neglect sounds a bit serious. Basically, if Newcastle improve a bit, where they're like a mid-table defence, suddenly people start calling them a good defence, right? And maybe they are, but they don't account for the fact that Man City are the best team in the league, right? So Newcastle's defence can be okay. Or good, we can call it good. Man City's attack is elite. So in that case, Man City's attack trumps Newcastle's defence, right? Like if you can't target Newcastle with Man City players, there ain't that many teams you can target, right? Especially in a week where Kane plays Wolves, Salah plays Man United, etc. So I think it's a bit weird to look at it like that. Haaland versus Newcastle is perfectly fine. Is he the best captain? Maybe not, but I think he's an okay captain choice for sure. You know, unless you want to go Jesus or Martinelli or Saka against Bournemouth. Yeah, I would say that West Ham are better than Newcastle, and look what Haaland just did to them. Any player I'm dreading for game week 2? Not really. I did all my dreading over Spurs players in game week 1. I bought Kulusevski in for a game week 1 punt to be a placeholder for a Man City mid. Should I save the transfer or go for Foden? Well, you've kind of answered your own question. You were going for a Man City mid. What's changed? And if it's just that Kulusevski got points, surely you knew that was possible because you got him in for game week 1, right? So you got Kulusevski so that he would get points. He's got the points, and now you don't want to sell him, or you're thinking about not selling him. So like I can't really answer that. What's your long-term plan? Did you want to get Foden and then keep him for 3 to 4 weeks? In which case, do it. If you were going to want Kulusevski back straight away, keep him. Simple as that for me. I don't mind a few aggressive moves early on. And like for those of you that already set them up by going for game week 1 punts, you should probably just go through with them. But Kulusevski's not a bad hold. I think I got a little bit worried. Like it's annoying because early on in pre-season, I did say when the transfer was made that Richarlison's probably just a squad player, right? He probably is. Top 6 teams, and to be honest, a lot of the Premier League now, they have strength in depth. And so Richarlison had to be brought in. There was no cover for Son and Kane, etc. Then I got a little bit spooked that maybe he would take minutes off Kulusevski, which he could still do. But I just think that front three of Son, Kane and Kulusevski is so good. I don't see Conte breaking it up. So I think Kulusevski will continue to get starts. Richarlison was obviously suspended for game 1. He is going to take minutes off those 3, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to warrant getting rid of Kulusevski necessarily. So, yeah, if you want Foden longer term, make the move. If you're unsure, just keep Kulusevski, even for Chelsea and then beyond. Do I think Perisic will start the next match? I don't know. We need to hear more from Conte. Conte keeps saying, like, you know, the new players have got to show like their fitness. They've got to show that they're ready. Like they need to learn about how he wants them to play and stuff like that. And I know Perisic obviously knows how to play left wing back under Conte, but I don't know. Sessegnon played well. Like if I had Perisic, let me just say that if I had Perisic, I'd probably be keeping him and starting him against Chelsea. I'm not bringing him in though this week. I think for anyone that doesn't own Perisic, you've got to wait till game week 3 now. Still on the Newcastle thing, imagine a foot race between Haaland and Shah and Davern. I know, it's crazy. I think you've got to play pretty deep against Man City now. But then that kind of... I think it's just hard now to play. Like, Man City have got another dimension to their attack where if you play really deep, well, you give them the ball, you're inviting crosses, you got to deal with Haaland. Maybe Shah and Davern can cope with that a little bit better. Otherwise, you're pushing out a little bit, so you don't have to deal with that. Well, then you leave space in behind. Haaland runs in behind. So, like, it's really difficult now. Whereas with a false 9 that keeps coming to collect the ball, that's a bit harder. It's a bit not easy to play against because obviously Man City is still great, but maybe it's a bit more one-dimensional. Like, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be that constant recycling, trying to make that extra pass. It's a bit more difficult with City. City didn't really look dangerous today, 2 shots on goal. Yeah, but what I would say is I think West Ham is the most difficult fixture they face in the first 6. Use free hits. No. Don't worry, Botman will sort Haaland out. Maybe. Anyway, let's not worry about game week 3 too much. It's just I am thinking ahead a little bit. Bench Neto, Bailey, Trippier or James for game week 2. Probably out of those, I'd be tempted to bench Trippier or Bailey. Probably Trippier. I think Brighton looked pretty good today. And they're at home, could get something. Same with Darwin, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, I said this on the Deno show. I think it's really interesting that both Man City and Liverpool went out and bought out-and-out number 9s at the same time. I have Salah, Darwin, Jesus, Son. Should I do Son to Haaland from -4? I think it's going to get harder to do this change, and now is the best time with fixtures. Again, exactly the same as the Kane scenario. Do you want a -4 though? Do you want Haaland longer term than Son? I don't know if I would do that, to be honest. You've already got Darwin, Jesus in there. You got Salah and Son. A -4 already to take out Son of all people. He gets something against Chelsea, you regret that, and then he's got good fixtures. Personally, I wouldn't do that, but again, if you really want Haaland long term, maybe you do it before the price rise. But the thing is, Son's not going to drop, and I don't think anyway. And Son's more expensive than Haaland, so even if Haaland goes up, you'll still be able to make that move in game week 3 if you want to. I get that you probably want the Bournemouth game, but I don't know if I'd take a hit to do that. I always come to Andy's live stream after a game week to instantly kill my radical ideas. I know, like I'm not one for the aggressive plays, especially game week 2. There's more aggressive FPL managers out there than me, I'm afraid. Sometimes it's good to like just sleep on a transfer, basically. Christopher, thank you very much. Steve, no Salah, no Haaland, too early to wildcard. No Haaland or no Salah. Presumably, you've got Spurs players, right? So again, what was the plan? For anyone with 2 Spurs players, surely one of the moves for game week 2 was to swap one of them out for Salah or for Haaland, right? So you could just do that and captain them. So on the game week 2 wildcard, again, most teams probably do not need it. I'm not completely against it, because I think a lot of people could use their wildcard early. Like back in the day, we'd always use our wildcard by like game week 3, 4 or 5 at the latest. Things have changed a lot now, because obviously we've got teams full of like Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool players, etc. But I don't know, like if you kind of messed up a few other spots and you want Salah and you want Haaland, you could wildcard. I don't think it's completely out of the question, but I would say if you've got 2 Spurs players, you could just transfer one of them to Salah or Haaland, or take a hit or something like that. Benjamin became a member. Thank you very much. Jandre Botes. I have KDB, a good captain shout for game week 2. Yeah, pretty good. I think Haaland's better. I think Salah's better, but De Bruyne's got Bournemouth at home. That's pretty nice. Nathan became a member. Thank you very much. Good to see you over here on YouTube. Only the wildcard if you have less than 30 points. It's less about the points. It's more about how your team is set up, right? If you're switching, you need to do it now is the problem. For Kane, yeah, no, I get it. If you're switching Kane to Haaland, you've got no money in the bank, you've got to do it now. You've got to make that decision. The thing is, it's very hard for me to like put myself in your shoes and think, okay, if I had Kane, would I be making the move? I think the difficulty for me is, as a Haaland owner, I am considering going the other way in game week 3. So I think that makes it more difficult to say that Kane to Haaland is a good move. But I know I would be tempted. It's Bournemouth at home. But I really think, though, we've got to remember that Salah is a great captain for Game Week 2. I think we're acting as if Haaland's the only captain choice next week, and that is not the case. That's not the case. Can you get over 100 million with price rises? Yes. I know I'm probably not helping, but it's really hard to give a yes or a no on would I do Kane to Haaland because I just don't know. I just don't know. This is why I started with Haaland. This is the exact reason. Because I knew I'd want him for Bournemouth. Yes, I got very lucky that Kane got nothing in a 4-goal win. But like, this is exactly why. It is so hard. It's so hard. All I can do is have empathy for you that are in this situation. I think I'd be tempted to do it. Should be an interesting black box on Thursday. I'm telling you now, I bet Mark's already made the move. Mark will make the move tonight. I almost guarantee it. Because I think he's got Kane. I think he's got Kane and Son right. So the move was always to do Kane to Haaland. So unless he's got money in the bank, he's going to do the move tonight. Guarantee it. I've got empathy for you. It's tough. Like FPL's tough sometimes with these big decisions. I want my money back for Kane. But this is what I was saying pre-season. Like, you got to be prepared that sometimes your players won't score points and other players will. That just happens. Like, and the thing is, it is harsher to get these swings in the early game weeks because prices are very volatile. There's lots of active managers, and they will be making a lot of early moves. But this will happen all throughout the season. All throughout the season. Right? Game week 3, when I keep talking about maybe doing Haaland to Kane. If I keep Haaland and Kane goes mad, I'm going to be annoyed. If I get Kane and Haaland keeps scoring, I'm going to be annoyed. So these things happen. It just sucks when it happened in game week 1, to be honest with you. Fire James, Robbo, Trent, Cancelo, Patterson with 1 million in the bank. Who to sub and who to transfer? Why do you need to transfer any of them? Why do you need to transfer any of them? Like, what was your game week? Again, like I know I'm going to keep saying this. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but for game week 2, it's more apt than ever. What was your plan before game week 1, and what has changed to make you think you need a transfer? That is what people need to be thinking about with their moves. Like, if I've got Cancelo, Trent, James, and Gabriel, my plan was just to play them in game week 2. Nothing has changed for me to want to transfer them out, right? A -4 at the start of the season is like 5 to 10% of points total. -4 later in the season, like less than 0.5 points total. Why would you? Wait, that makes no sense. I guess it makes literal sense because you got less points now, but that doesn't change whether you should take a hit or not, right? That you only take a hit when you need it, or when it's going to get you more points. So it doesn't matter how many total points you've got. It makes no difference. Zilcho. Singing about Zinchenko, yeah, but like you've got so many good players. Jamie became a new member. Thank you very much. By the way, some people probably won't be showing up on the members thing. I will fix that before the next day. Again, I can't do it every single day. So new member, I can do it every day, but I'm not going to because there's only so many streams a week. So new members will be up by the deadline stream. Can you show how to make your team private, no viewing? You can't. Can't do that as far as I know. You lost some weight, looking good. Yeah, debatable, but thank you. Keep working at it. The earlier you take a hit, the more weeks it has to pay off. Yeah, look, there's no... The thing is, people try and... In my opinion, there's very few things in FPL that are genuine evergreen advice. If I say it now, it will apply for every season for the next 5 seasons. It just doesn't happen, right? I could write like a book on, you should only take hits in these cases, but ultimately it gets to game week 1 and then we go into game week 2. It's on a case by case basis. So like, hits are not inherently bad or good. They should be used when needed, and for most of us, there is absolutely no reason to take a hit in game week 1 and in game week 2. And I could write that as an evergreen rule. You never need to take a hit in game week 2, but some people will. Some people will have messed their teams up, right? And they will be losing money, and they will have the wrong players. And in those cases, it's worth taking the -4. But most people are not in that position. Like, if I had Fernandes, would I be tempted to shift him on this week? Possibly. And because he's so expensive, I'd probably be downgrading him, and therefore I'd be spending the money elsewhere. I'd be tempted to take an aggressive hit. But for most people, that's not the case. Like, does my team need a hit? Not in any way, shape, or form does my team need a hit. It doesn't even really need a transfer. There are, of course, transfers that could be good, like Cucurella to Walker and bench Gabriel, but I'm not going to do that and sacrifice not having 2 transfers in game week 2. Have you considered any Leeds assets? If so, which? So I thought Leeds were pretty good against Wolves. There was definitely like spells of, I don't know, like, what the hell am I trying to say? I'm so bad at speaking English. Wolves were good until they scored the goal. Then Leeds were pretty good up until the second half. Leeds did pretty well from what I remember early doors, but then Wolves had quite a bit more control of the match and like had better chances. But ultimately, Leeds were the better team. I was not impressed with Wolves at all. Like Neto, I don't know how long he's going to be in my team for. I think he showed some good skills, but at no point did that really translate into points. That like he crossed the ball in for the first goal. It was nodded down by Hwang, and then Pigott scored. I wasn't that impressed with Wolves at all. Leeds were good. I think Aronson looks really interesting. He was making some late runs into the box. Obviously, nearly got the goal as well, but it was an own goal. The defender definitely put it in. I've seen a replay of it. Bamford looks sharp. The problem is, most of us are set up with teams where we've only got 2 forwards, like Haaland or Kane plus Jesus. That's what a lot of people have got, not everyone. So it's very hard to, like, there's no reason to restructure your squad to get Bamford in. But I think Bamford looks really good as a 7.5. The problem he's got, it's only 0.5 million more to get a Saka or a Diaz or someone like that. So it's probably a little bit hard to justify the move right now. But I think he plays Southampton in game week 2. He's on penalties, as far as you know. He looks sharp. I think Bamford looks really good. Defensive-wise, again, they conceded pretty much not straight away, but it's about 15 minutes in maybe. I just can't believe they have a £5 million defender. I really cannot. I know Christensen got a lot of attacking returns last year, but I think it's mad that he was 5 million. But you know that's a complaint for the rest of the season, because I'm sure I'll be still moaning about that. I'll still be moaning about prices as we go through the season. Newcastle's the best defence outside the top 6. Not having that. I don't think so. I think Brighton are better. I think Crystal Palace could be better as well. Like, Arsenal did really well against Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace also did really well against Arsenal. The result didn't happen, but I think they were good. A 4.5 million Brentford forward came on and got an assist. That's the good thing about 5 subs. Wasn't he a midfielder though? Or was there a striker as well? Oh yeah, sorry. Halil. Oh my god, I'm not pronouncing that. Greenwood came on, I think. Did Archer come on as well, I think? Please don't spam. I'll try and get to the questions as soon as possible. There's a lot in the chat. I'm not forgetting how good Newcastle finished the season. I just think that people are maybe slightly overestimating just how good they are. Like, again, I completely agree they improved, right? And they are a better defence than they were at the start of the season. But I think the idea that they're now the best defence outside the top 6, I need to be convinced of that over a long period of time. What do you think about Saka to Foden? I would just keep Saka. To be honest, he's got 3 great fixtures, right? Unless you need to free up an Arsenal spot for any reason. Play Andreas over Neto. Nah, I mean, Andreas Pereira was pretty good. I'm not ready to just ditch. I don't know, maybe there is a little bit of price bias, because, you know, if Andreas Pereira was 5.5 million like Neto, will I still play Neto over him? Maybe not. But I think ultimately, I've got to play Neto. I've got to give Neto one more chance. I'm just comparing their stats, because I know people said that he looked good. He was taking up some good positions. Pereira's expected goal involvement 0.2. Neto 0.32. Slightly better. More shots. Pereira created 1 chance, had no shots. Oh, sorry, 1 shot outside the box. And also, Newcastle's fixtures they got Man City and Liverpool in the next 4 game weeks, so not really interested at all. Yeah, look, I don't know what you want me to say about Newcastle. Do I have to say they're the 7th best defence in the league? I think it's too early to say that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying we should be going out of our way to target them. I'm just not willing to say they're the 7th best defence in the league. That's all. Is that big of a controversy? You sign Pope, great pick. Great transfer. You got Botman as well. I'm sure you're going to be great. Again, Bruno Guimaraes is an absolute baller. If you can keep hold of him for another season or two, I'll be very surprised. Newcastle are good. But, like, I don't have to sit here and say they're the 7th best defence in the league. Give it up. Definitely better than... Yeah, okay, maybe they are a top 6 defence because they're better than Man United. That, to be fair, that could be correct. Yeah, that could be correct. Look, good result against Nottingham Forest. They defended really well. And, again, I quite like Trippier as a pick if you could have rotated him. But let's just chill. Let's just chill. Keep Christensen, Andreas and set maximum until game week 3 for Perisic, Andreas and Mitrovic using 2 for chance and take a -4. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Perisic is definitely better than Christensen if he gets minutes. You've already got Andreas in both situations. So you're essentially... The thing is, if you get Mitrovic in game week 3, you've missed one of his good fixtures in 2, and then you've still got like Chelsea, Arsenal and Spurs to come. So I'm not really sure about jumping on Mitrovic too early. What do I think about Lamptey? I love Lamptey. I tweeted this earlier. I wish we could have a nailed on, so like basically Lamptey to start every single week, but also be fit enough to last past 60 minutes every week. I would love that. He would be straight in my team. He'd be in ahead of Gabriel. I like the Brighton defence. I love how attacking he is. I just love watching him play, but he's just not guaranteed to start and not really that fit. Generally, they will probably manage him. Did you organise your wedding day to be outside of a game weekend? No. Why aren't you in... Wolves sign Guedes? How'd you say that? Is that confirmed now, is it? Man United are in for an Arnautovic, though. It could be interesting. I'm hoping it will just make Wolves better. I'm hoping it doesn't also take away any minutes from Neto. Guedes. Oh, God. I'm hoping basically with players like that, I hope they just don't become options so I don't have to say their names. That's what I think. I've got 3 City, nice. Cancelo, Walker, Haaland, I wish I did. 3 Arsenal, nice. 3 Liverpool, nice. Should you be worried? Worried about what? Worried about getting too many points? I won't be worried about that. I can tell you now, Aaronson did not score that goal. I watched the game. I was watching the game in full. There was a clear replay, video replay, came in from the left. He didn't get the last touch. I'm sorry, in real time I thought it was Aaronson. I even tweeted side, but when I saw that, it was definitely the defender. Ain't near, I'm afraid. I don't know what Cornet's price is, but I assume it'll be 5.5 million. I had Ronaldo week 1. Your opinion on him? Bad pick. Not fit. Might not even start game week 2. I'd probably sell him. That is probably a player I'd move straight onto Darwin Nunez, to be honest. We can just switch Neto for Aaronson. Yeah, possibly. If you think that FPL changed to an own goal because of my tweet, you think I've got way more power than I have. I basically have 0 power. FPL base their decisions on what Opta say, and if Opta say it was an own goal, FPL will say, okay, it's an own goal. Should I go for Grealish or Foden for the triple up Man City? I think I'd go for Foden. Robertson to Cancelo, is it knee-jerk? Yes, very. Salah was so good. He was, yeah. I mean, if he keeps playing like that, he will be the centre-back of choice. But I still don't know if it's completely clear-cut over which of the two of Gabriel, Saliba and White play. I know a lot of Arsenal fans say that Gabriel will be nailed on left-footed, left centre-back. But I mean, he wasn't great either against Crystal Palace necessarily. Can you speak on Bailey and how you could get off him? I think with Bailey, you keep him for Everton, then reassess. I don't think you've really got many places to go. Like Dewsbury Hall, I just don't think he's the kind of player you want playing week in, week out. So I think you have to give Bailey game week 2, and then with 2 free transfers, that's where you work out what to do with him. That would be my kind of thinking. How did you celebrate hitting 300k? I went for some food straight after the stream, literally to the local place, had 1 pint, came back and watched the Arsenal game. With a few beers from the shop. That was it. Back in the back is overrated. I guess you mean big at the back. I don't think so. James did well. Cancelo did well. Arsenal defenders did well. So it's only because Liverpool conceded. They're not going to meet the mighty Mitrovic every single week though. Would you transfer him Nunez for Vardy for a -4? Nah, don't think so. Don't think so. But the thing is, Nunez is less than Vardy, so why would you need to take the hit? If you've already made another move, I think you just live with Vardy for another week. Cucurella to start over Chilwell next week? I don't think so, to be honest. I think the fact that Chilwell started the last game is a good thing for him. Came through unscathed, so I don't think Tuchel will necessarily throw Cucurella in against Spurs, but who knows? Who knows? I think if he does, that's going to really put me in a tricky spot, because then I'm going to consider just keeping... then I'm going to consider just keeping Cucurella, and he might not start in game week 3, but we'll see. We'll see. Sharia, thank you. Rogue thought Joe Linton at 6 would be immense if he could hit a band. Oh, Newcastle fan, by the way. Yeah, I don't think we're buying Joe Linton at 6 anytime soon, personally. Especially when like Martinelli is 6 million. Like Martinelli got a goal, should have had another one as well. Like he did really well. Do I play Andreas Pereira against Wolves, or do I transfer Perisic to Walker, who plays Bournemouth? I think with Perisic you've got to just wait. Just wait with Perisic and see what is said by Conte. I think if you started with Perisic, the plan surely was just to keep him a little bit longer, right? I'm probably not going to transfer anyone out. By the way, I should say as well, and there's a lot of discussion about my team reveal thing. Like some people hated it, some people liked it. I'm not necessarily going to be doing that every single week, but I'm also not gonna guarantee that you're always going to see my transfer beforehand. I got a lot of messages from people that said, your team on this video was different to your deadline stream. That's how it's going to be. I'm never going to lie to you, but my opinion and thoughts might change as we get through the week. Like Cucurella, for example, didn't even consider him to the deadline stream. And to be honest, for anyone that went Walker and I went Cucurella, you've got the better pick right now. So I wouldn't even worry about it. But sometimes I just like a little bit of spice in my team. Tiny bit with Cucurella. Keeping Perisic, but would you play ahead of Bailey? I think I'd probably play Bailey and just hope that he's not awful again. Or hope that Villa aren't awful again. Still regretting making the last minute change from Haaland to Kane and captaining him as well. Ouch. Yeah. That's just one of those swings again. Like, look, everyone's excited when their players score points, right? I was loving Haaland earlier, etc. But realistically, Kane, on another day, Kane gets 13 points and Haaland blanks, right? It's simple as that. It's just unlucky. And the fact that you just like double down with a captain just makes it worse, but these things happen. Haaland's on a different level to Kane. I'm not sure about that yet. Excuse me. Would you keep or sell cash? I'd keep for another week, I think, at least. What's the chances you go Salah over Haaland for captain? Yeah, again, this is going to be one of those things this week that people might moan about because I might change my mind. Excuse me. I feel like at this stage of the season, I don't know, actually. Does that really matter, having more fun now than later? It almost just feels like I can go for Haaland at this stage of the season, whereas maybe I play safe with Salah later on in the season. I don't know, but I mean, safe. What's safe if Haaland gets points? I think I'll probably target Bournemouth, to be honest with you. Unless I get any concerns that Haaland might not start for some reason, which I do not see why that would be the case, I would switch to Salah. But I think I'm probably gonna go Haaland. All of my 11 are playing at home. They are indeed, yeah. I think there could be some good points this week. Good points. Probably not as much as Game Week 1, though. Honestly, I absolutely, anyone that got like 40 or 50 in Game Week 1 could easily go and get 60, 70 in Game Week 2, and then my team could be the complete opposite, and then suddenly we're all level again. Okay, last few questions now. Is it okay to stick with Kane over Haaland? It's okay if that's what you want to do, yeah. I talked about that a lot earlier on in the stream. I definitely think it's okay. Rash to anyone, Kane to Haaland, today or wait, no money, 64 points. Again, like Rashford I would just hold, I think. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to sell him. Like him to Martinelli could be good, but I'd probably just give him the Brentford game, then reassess. Kane to Haaland today. Wait, yeah, it's up to you. Do you want Haaland longer term? If you do it. If you want Kane back from Game Week 3, just keep Kane. I feel like a lot of people come to your stream to see what changes you made to your team, and I think it would be a bad thing if you stopped showing that. Yeah, but like, I would argue, why does that matter? Why does it matter? If I give you my opinion all throughout the week, why does it matter if you don't see what I do last minute? What difference does that make? I get that for some people it might be like a comfort thing almost. That if you want to do the same move and I do it, then you do it as well. But and like I said, I'm not saying that I'm never going to show you the move. I'm just saying I'm never going to commit to having it locked in any earlier than 6:29 or 10:59 on a Saturday morning. And sometimes you won't see it. Like if it's a close call, I might hide it. I don't know. I'll play. I'll decide as we go. I do think, though, for unlimited transfers and wildcards in Game Week 1, it makes sense to not show the whole thing. But it's just me. And to be honest, if you'd listened to what I'd said throughout the whole week, a lot of people just knew what my team was. Loads of people put super chats in, comments in the chat. They tweeted me and said, these are your picks. And loads of people got it right. The team review on Friday built the suspense for those that love the show. I was thinking about hiding Salah and Haaland captain, but I think that's difficult because if someone in the chat asks me who I think is the best captain, I'm going to answer honestly. So if I think it's Haaland, I'm going to say Haaland. I do think it's close, though, between the two this week. So maybe I'll hide it. And also, I don't want to get too caught up in trying to hide stuff and stuff like that, because that might make me overthink. I just want to play the game, make my choices and do it right. I think as long as you pass on any inside info as you have done, then you can do what you want before the deadline. If someone needs to copy you, what's the fun? Yeah. Again, the inside info thing does my head in, because one, I just don't have I did have someone that would sometimes give me the Liverpool stuff, but not always. And even then, they wouldn't necessarily give me the whole team. It would just be one player. And then other times, like the Ronaldo stuff last year, that was last minute. And then people get so annoyed about it because they think I've been holding it for days. It's just not the case. So I'm in some ways, I'm happier to not get early team news. It's just less hassle. It really is. Then I've got the same info as everyone else. Can you talk about Darwin, please? Should I keep him for Game Week 2? Why would you get rid of Darwin Nunez? Honestly, people are thinking about wildcarding to get him in. And you're thinking about selling him? No. You pick and give us 3 options. Then after deadline, reveal it. No, I don't. Again, if I'm hiding the captain and someone says to me who's the best captain, I'm probably gonna say who it is. So I don't know. Anyway, we don't need to worry about it too much now. What to do with Mahrez? Have 2 million in the bank. I would be tempted to sell him to Foden. Mahrez could start, but again, like we said earlier, you just fall into this loop of, he could start, he hasn't started, but he could start the next game. Well, he hasn't started, but he could start the next game. So I think I would sell him maybe to another £8 million midfield, like a Foden or a Diaz or a Saka. Scotty Days, go have a pint for the amount of flack you get for changing your opinion in a game where information is always incoming. Yeah, I do try to stick to what I say earlier on in the week, but sometimes new information comes, sometimes different info comes, and sometimes I just change my mind. I'm just an FPL manager, right? Sometimes I do get excited when it gets close to the deadline. I'm like, screw it, I'm going to do this instead. Maybe that's more exciting. Most of the time, though, it's better to have just done the original move, to be honest with you. Like, sometimes it is just easier. Cheers, Benjamin. Sometimes it is just easier to, better to just stick to the original move instead of changing your mind or whatever. It's your stream, you can do what you like. However, my opinion on the reveals is you're risking your content and therefore views and subs for a small increase in FPL rank, which has no real long-term advantage. But the thing is, I'm not doing it because of my rank. I do care about it, but it's not why I'm doing it. It's because other people hate that there's people that are just straight up copying every single move in their mini leagues. It's not really about me. I don't care. Like, if I finish 10k, 11k, 12k, 13k, whatever, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. That's not why I'm doing it. But I agree, I was a little bit worried about people go and view a different stream or something like that. But we hit the peak concurrent, like 30,600 people. That's a new record on the channel. So I probably shouldn't worry too much. And if people are not going to watch because they're that annoyed that they can't just see the exact move, do I worry about them watching? Probably not either. But again, it's not going to be every week. This week, my move will be nothing. I probably won't. And that'll be it. Game week 3, I'll make a move and you'll probably know exactly what it is. But I need to see game week 2 before I even think about that, right? So let's not worry about it. It's not going to be this big thing all season, that's for sure. Mohamed, Kane to Haaland, done. Very nice. Very nice. It's like sports watching. Thoughts on Manchester United? No FPL talk on this. Bad. Bad. The thing is, it's like a constant cycle with Man United. New manager comes in. Okay, he seems to be a really good coach. You know, he's made the Martinez call. Hopefully he's good. Eriksen's good. But you look at that team. Right, the thing with Man United is, if you're trying to be somewhat realistic and you say, okay, you can go and replace whichever player needs replacing without being stupid and saying, okay, I'll just get Haaland, right? Because that's not going to happen. But if you talk about the players that could go, I think Man United need a new goalkeeper, right? I know everyone loves De Gea, and I know it's not the most important thing in our team. I get that. It's the argument that always comes up. But we need a keeper that's confident with their feet, because otherwise it invites pressure. He's not good with his feet, David De Gea. So we probably need a new goalkeeper. We probably need a new right back. I think the rest of the defence is okay. I know Maguire's not necessarily great, but there's enough centre-backs to go along with Martinez to not buy a new centre-back. We need a DM, like, for what, the last 10 years or something? We probably need another striker, and we probably need at least one more wide player just to have, like, competition for places and stuff like that and depth. So Man United are in a bad place, and now they're talking about getting Marco Arnautovic. Like, it's a mess. Ten Hag is going to just be screwed over, basically, I would say. It's mental. The DM situation is crazy. I think, like, I kind of get that it's difficult to go out and buy, like, a world-class player, but at some point over the last 10 years, surely there's been a DM available that Man United could have got. You know? In your next knee-jerk live stream, you need to prank the chat with active wildcard. Nah, I never want to do things like that. I don't want to, like... Well, I don't know, that would be quite funny, actually. Maybe I will. You didn't need a goalie. You just sent Henderson out. He's a good keeper. But is he good with his feet? Is he? Like, I know it sounds crazy. Is the goalkeeper good with the feet? But that is football these days. Would probably be even better if you'd let the haters be and not respond to them. Yeah, fair enough. I don't think it's really haters. It's just like, I feel like we're having a discussion, but fair enough. Apparently they've made... You don't know... The thing is, you don't know what is made up with Man United because they always get clicks, right? But apparently they're in for Arnautovic as like a bit of depth. It's exactly the same as Igalo, Cavani, etc., etc. The list goes on. Anyway, a couple more FPL questions, then we'll call this a day. Is Pereira better than Bailey for Game Week 2? I think I would go Bailey. Do I think Haaland's nailed for penalties? I do think he is, but we don't know for certain. I know it's going to be like the Saka situation. Everyone's going to say, no, he's definitely on them. But Pep got specifically asked about it. He said, Haaland took the penalty. Is he now the main penalty taker? And Pep said something like... he liked the confidence that he just stood up and just took it straight away. Like, he grabbed the ball, he was taking it. But then he basically said it's whichever of the guys feels good. So he still didn't say Haaland's definitely on them, but he did say he liked the way he kind of stood up and took it. For what it's worth, I can't imagine Mahrez is going to put up much of a fight to take a penalty over Haaland, and he did dispatch it very coolly. Like, he was literally straight up run, bam. It was a really good penalty. So I think he will have penalties, but we don't know for sure. But I think he'll have them. I think he'll have them permanently. When is Perisic going to take Sessegnon's place in the 11? I think we need to see the Chelsea game and then see what happens. If Sessegnon gets the nod again against Chelsea, I think that puts Perisic in a bit of a tricky situation. Where again, you're like, okay, well, the next game, surely he's going to start. I think it probably is a little bit safer of an option that he will start at some point rather than worrying about Mahrez, for example. But if Sessegnon is trusted against Chelsea, that would worry me a little bit about Perisic. All right, I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to give it a like if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. We're past 301,000 subscribers now, which is mad. I'll be back tomorrow with another video as well. We'll have videos all throughout this week and then another deadline stream on Saturday ahead of the 11 a.m. deadline. So yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed that, answered some of the main questions. We'll cover a bunch of the other stuff throughout the week, so don't panic. There'll be a chance to ask questions for the game week preview and all that good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll catch you again soon.